July 21st. And, wow, that was a lot to take in. I know y'all don't care because a lot of y'all have no interest in education, the educational system, don't read or whatever, or keep up with things like current events or history. But right now, here in this country, United States, teachers in the schools are quitting by the hundreds, maybe the thousands, yo. You look online, you see video after video after video of teachers in the schools who are teaching your kids and mine, because my two youngest are still in high school, okay? They're quitting, they're giving up. Why? Because they can no longer take the fucking abuse and pressure of being sandwiched in between, being expected to teach your kids and make them a success by themselves and put up with your kids abusing them. And I'm speaking up because, see, a lot of y'all is so young and, so whatever, dismissive, don't give a fuck about history, this and that. Y'all busy trying to rewrite history, erase history, and all of that dumb shit. But those who fail to remember are doomed to repeat. I'm mad as hell because I have kids in the educational system. I came through the educational system. My mom came through the educational system. My sister, God rest her, God rest my mom. And we excelled in the educational system. My grandmom, I don't know the details of my grandmom's educational career, but I know she was brilliant. Okay? She used to do the crossword puzzles in the New York Times and in the puzzle books. This was before the internet. The hard ones in the back that I couldn't do. My mother was a brilliant genius with math, with reading. Me and my sister, self-taught speed readers. I can read 300 pages a day, no lie. For fun. I used to do that for fun. Books are my best friend, I told y'all that. And I'm proud of that shit too. I was always the bookworm and the brilliant student in my family. I've always been in gifted and talented classes since I was in 3rd grade. And my academic career was outstanding. I'm not going to even bore y'all with telling y'all everything I did. I'll tell you some of it. I was a National Merit Scholarship semifinalist in Who's Who of American High School Students, 1985, 1986. SAT scores for 1985 and 1986. I was in the top 1% of the country for my SAT scores, 1,200 and 1,260 by the old scoring system, okay? Which placed me in the top 1% of the country. Colleges from all over the country were trying to recruit me. Okay, but I didn't want to go to college. I was on the debate club. I was in the academic Olympics. I was on the school newspaper. I was in the chosen for the NYU Summer Journalism Workshop, which was a very exclusive program that they only had 16 slots, 16 spaces. I still have the picture of me sitting at the table when I was writing my story, putting my story together. And I was like 16 years old. Yo, there were only 16 slots available for this exclusive, high-intensity crash course summer journalism workshop at NYU, right on the campus downtown, around West 4th, downtown where NYU is. And only 16 people were chosen. Very few who were chosen were black, by the way. There was only a handful of blacks. I was one of them. Out of all the high school students, I was the one chosen out of the 16 slots. And my story was on the front page, top of the front page. I had to share it with another girl, but mine was on the top. Runaways get a new lease on life. A story about Covenant House, which still exists to this day. I went down there and I interviewed them and I took pictures and I put my story together. Typeset it, all of that. I worked hard in my academic career for my success. And my ancestors, see, I'm black and I'm American Indian. My ancestors worked hard and fought hard got their heads busted open and bled, along with white folks too. I'm not gonna forget the white folks who helped fight for things like to free the slaves or for civil rights or for the right for us to go to the white schools, the good schools, you know, because there was back in the day segregation. I know y'all ain't forget that. While y'all trying to rewrite history, there was segregation back in the day before I was born. When I was born 1969, that shit was ending. Okay? Vietnam War was going on when I was born. There was segregation in the time back when my mother was in school, when my grandmother was in school, you know, and my ancestors, my black ancestors, they fought hard along with the white folks and whoever else, the Spanish, the Jews, whoever else was here, fought hard and they died, got their heads busted open by these white motherfuckers, these white fucking law enforcement and white fucking politicians and white fucking communities that didn't want black people in their schools with their kids because they said our people act like animals and they didn't want them in the schools with our kids, with their kids, you know. And so my people fought hard with everybody else, the whites and everybody else, Spanish, Jews, and everybody else, for that right to go to the good schools and excel. And there was a time when that first little black girl went to a white school, she had to be escorted by police. They had to have the state police there because the white folks in the community and the kids in the school, everybody there was ready to disrespect us, spit on her, tell her to get out. They didn't want her there. The fucking state police had to be there just for her to walk into the school safely and sit there and go to school. And that girl endured all kinds of fucked up abuse. My people endured all kinds of fucked up abuse during the civil rights era just for the right to do things like go into a white store and be served, sit down anywhere they want to on the bus, or go into a movie theater and not have segregated movie theaters, segregated restaurants, stores, this, that, this. They had their heads busted open for that shit. And now here we are all these years later, and look at how your kids are in these schools. Your kids of you fuckers, you descendants of the slave breeding programs. Cause see, I want these teachers to know who are quitting. Y'all have to stop. Y'all say y'all don't know what's going on, what's the solution? I tell you the solution. Stop selling the lies to the kids that y'all sold to me when I was little. Everybody's alike, everybody's the same, nobody's better than everybody else. We're all alike, we're no different from one another. When I was a little kid and fucking Head Start and shit like that, first grade, kindergarten, second grade, I believe that shit. By the time I get to third, fourth grade, I started to seeing different. We wasn't all alike, but y'all sell that shit to make the kids who are bad behavior patterns, or the kids who are slow, or the kids who don't study, or whatever, to make them feel better. And that's so while y'all standing there getting teachers that y'all are quitting because y'all being abused by these fucking kids, know that them kids they're not all alike. I know that because I'm from the hood, and I can tell you I grew up in the same circumstances as them fucked up kids. No father in my home, dysfunctional, toxic family with abuse, drug abuse going on, child sexual abuse of me, all of that. And I overcame all that shit because I loved reading, I loved books, I was fascinated by learning, and I wanted to excel. I didn't want to be a failure, so I studied hard. These fuckers that are attacking y'all, they come from the ghetto hood rat culture and the ghetto hood rat families. All black people ain't alike. Y'all keep trying to sell that shit. They wasn't alike back in slavery times because there was descendants of the slave breeding programs, and then there was those who was descended from the Africans, slaves who were dragged over here in chains and always wanted to be free. The descendants of the slave breeding programs didn't give a fuck about being free. They didn't give a fuck about education, like or like the blacks who fought to be free and all that and have education. Some of that, the people y'all was fighting for don't give a fuck about that, and y'all didn't realize that, but I do. And so I grew up around them in the fucking hood, the projects, all of that. It used to be less of them. And they were shunned and they were out in the street. And then when the rap culture came along, the drug culture came along, the hustler, the street culture, the pimps, the whole culture, all that came along, all of the kids started looking at them as role models, because they were making money, easy, quick money. Instead of looking at the people who was working hard as role models, they thought that was stupid. Why am I work hard when I could go on the street and make money, quick money, just doing this? And so they all started to value the street culture, and that's what they live by. So when you want to know why y'all are being punched in the face, pregnant teachers kicked in the stomach, because those students that y'all are dealing with come from households where shit like that goes on. I know I came from households where I survived that shit, watching my mother be beat up and all kind of shit like that. And that's why I said I'll never let a man put their hand on me or my daughter. But most of them motherfuckers come from households where that shit is fine, it's expected. That's what happens. They are brainwashed that this is how it's supposed to be, and they grow up like that, and they are comfortable with that kind of behavior, the violence. They done seen their moms getting beat up like I have. They done seen their dads beating on their mother like I have. They done seen all kind of violence in the hood like I have, and they desensitized to it. And now they in order to feel good, listen, you got to realize, when I was in school, there was some of them in school with me too. I noticed if I sat in a chair in the back of the class with the fucking clowns and the hood rats and the troublemakers and all the motherfuckers who want to play and shit was at, I couldn't learn. I couldn't hear because they was joking, cracking jokes, playing and all kind of shit. So I would sit in the front of the class or the middle so I could hear and focus on my education and learn and raise my hand and ask questions. Yo, these are fuckers who have no interest in education. Some of them come from households where they spoiled to death with all kind of expensive shit so they could be hood rich, but they don't teach them no values. They don't give them no discipline. They let them do whatever the fuck they want because that's how they was raised, half-ass raised. And then later on, they be the same parents talking about, I can't do nothing with him. I don't know. He don't listen to me because they didn't teach their fucking kids how to listen to him. They was busy in the street partying. You know how I know? There's still motherfuckers, their parents just like that. Right here outside my window. Party all the fucking